Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers, and sisters. Welcome back to this amazing championship. I got completely put off there by someone on my street. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, if you actually heard that. Because unfortunately, my flat is right by the main road, and someone just revved up and put me completely off my stride. Well done me. There's professionalism for you. Welcome back to the VMS LMU Championship, season number 4, penultimate round number 7 here at it's Tifosi territory. It is Monza. I am very much looking forward to this. Yes, I know I say that every time, and I don't apologize for doing so. My name is Chris Buxton. I'll be one of your commentators throughout tonight's festivities. Joining me in the virtual Italian commentary box is the one and only Ed Hunter. Glad to have you back with me, Ed. And it's getting very, very spicy as we get towards the closing part of the season.
Yep, 2 races to go. I'm getting to do 2 in a row as well, which is a rare treat for me this season. So I guess the upside for Nathan Richards is he gets to do the big finale, the 2 hours, 40 minutes of Circular off in 2 weeks' time, of course. But yeah, Monza is going to be a lot of fun, of course. Number of we're very close to seeing our duty-free championship potentially decided today. I think Hypercar, we did see some controversy from last time at Interlagos, of course, because as it happens, the driver we saw that won the race on the track is not necessarily the one that's going to end up with the 25 points. I believe they did do hearing, and I think we called Isaac Gillison the winner, but I think Gillison did get a penalty for this race for contact with, I think it was Johannes Price into turn 1, and that means Sven Gielhed has been given the 25 points for victory, so keeping his title hopes alive. But Gillison, instead of being only 2 points behind Krylov, he's down 9 points behind with 2 to go. So that's going to be very close. But as you can see on stream, there is our GD3 standings. Alexis Herndt, 146 points. Luke Guy had 95 points. Now, that's a 51-point gap. But, of course, we have our drop your worst result rule, essentially, this season. At every race so far, both Herndt and Whitehead have finished in the points. But Whitehead scored P9. Paul Ricard, after really there was all the controversy with the pit entry line, essentially that cost him a shot at finishing on the podium. So Luke Whitehead only 2 points from that event. Alexis Herndt's worst result, as we see the GD3's release from the pit lane, was 3rd at Silverstone. So he has those 15 points that he can fall back on no matter what happens today, essentially. So it really puts the pressure on Luke Whitehead, because if you adjust for that, that's a 13-point swing in favor of Whitehead. That means instead of 51 points, it's 38 points. Which is exactly the number of points on offer for winning at Secular for our season finale in 2 weeks' time. So, Alexis Herndt, if he's more than 38 points ahead of Whitehead by the end of this event, he is going to take that championship, of course. So, yeah, he has got every incentive then to just absolutely go for it, whereas Luke Whitehead in the Mustang is the one really under pressure here. He's got to nail this, and you can see everybody else behind them doing well this season, but mathematically out of contention. Mehdi Hamadani in 3rd. Having a fantastic first season in Platinum Split. Marin Bessier, the reigning champion, 4th. Tommy Lydon is in 5th in Mercedes. Patrick Schindler is 6th. Alexander Hanna 7th. Axel Ramone 8th. Remy Delorme 9th. And Christian Malgera rounds out the top 10.
Absolutely so. And yes, I think it's fair to say that Alexis Herndt has a commanding advantage, but it is not all done and dusted, and you know that Luke Whitehead is going to push to the very last second to maximize this. And why shouldn't he? He's essentially got nothing to lose by this stage. He's if he doesn't do well, he's out of the points anyway, or out of contention anyway. So he may as well just give it absolutely everything he's got. What a 19 GT3s join us for tonight's festivities. Thank you very much to those that are joining us. Obviously, at the time of broadcast, the Miami Formula One Grand Prix is going on, so we very much appreciate those that are joining us. And those catching up with this post-event, we welcome your company as well. But with 19 GT3s, we are going to have a few lesser-known names come on. I'm not sure who that Bumblebee-flavored Corvette was.
It would be...
I was going to say...
It's not Manisha, it's a Werrell.
Yeah, so that is a name I don't recognize, so welcome very much to you as well. That's a livery. Oh, Marin Bessier has been calling a yellow somewhere. What has happened to the Frenchman? Oh no. Oh no. Please tell me you haven't dropped it on the grass. Oh,
you see the
okay.
traffic jam ahead of him. He's had to slow right down.
So that's just,
I think, Schindler ahead of him.
Yeah, so he's had to come to an almost halt there. That's just a yellow flag incident that's caused because cars are going very slowly, not because there has been an incident. So that is at least a relief. So that is Lewis Werrell in the Bumblebee flavored number 24. Welcome to you. We will see how Lewis gets on in the American mark. Sam Gaskell.
I recognize that livery, by the way, the Bumblebee livery, because that's the very same one in the gold split that Michele De Rezzo drives. So that is the 0 Point Racing, zero sign with an X, of course, livery, the black and white sort of Bumblebee half on the car. De Rezzo drives a sort of Peugeot 9X8 that's got that livery on it, and has actually had some really strong performances throughout gold split. He was overtaken on the very, very last lap, actually, a week ago at Circuit de la Sarthe in the 2.4 hour, 2 hours 40 minutes, I should say, there by I forget who it was, but it was I'll be kicking myself after, but it was a dramatic moment for him where he was just absolutely lost that position right at the death there. But anyway, Axel Ramonet, I think he's going to be the first. Oh no, I think he's just the McLaren just at the top of the timing sheet somewhat arbitrarily here, as Manisha will be first to complete a flying lap. But of course, tyres still very cold here. 1 minute 50.4. We are going to see faster than that. Gaskell, who we saw so strong at Sebring, didn't we? He is now beaten that by about 2 seconds or so. Now Alexis Hearn retakes control with Lewis Werrell not far behind him.
Yeah, so exactly as Ed says, the fastest lap is going to be beaten and beaten again, over and over again. Now, the latest patch that has kicked in for LMU seems to favour the Lamborghini, or
I believe it's fixed an issue that the Lamborghini had at Circuit de la Sarthe, because if you're watching the gold split, the Lamborghinis were at the back of the GT3 and were like 4 to 5 seconds off the pace, essentially. Which obviously at a circuit like Monza would be catastrophic, but at Circuit de la Sarthe, it's because it's almost twice as long a lap than a Monza.
Death knell there, yeah.
It is, yeah, essentially, yeah, you're miles behind, essentially. So that's great news for Alexis Hearn for his chances in the finale, but he may even be able to seal the title before then, especially if he starts on pole position and he's got Lewis Werrell in between himself and Whitehead. But Werrell in the Corvette, 85 thousandths behind his best time at the moment, although as you can see the tyres still warming up here. We've got 5 minutes left of the GT3 qualifying session, and Luke Whitehead is 3.5 tenths up in the first sector, getting a lovely tow from one of, that must be our other Corvette, sorry, of Artyom Manisha, that's getting a big hole in the air just ahead of him there. So the Mustang trying to pull away. No, it's Alexis Hearn, so two title contenders on track together then. So Hearn unintentionally sort of helping Whitehead here by running ahead of him.
Yes, that's a somewhat ironic twist of fate there. And there we see Lewis Werrell. That's going to really throw me somewhat, because one of the commentators I work with the Classic Sports Car Club for my circuit commentaries is Mark Werrell. So that's going to throw me somewhat.
Perhaps a relation.
Werrell, different spelling. So
okay.
And also his son Jack works with us as well. So looking forward to that. Alexander Lay in the Alp-Light Mustang. Wanted to say McLaren for a second then. Purple sector.
It was the McLaren earlier this season. He changed to the Mustang for Interlagos and got on the podium, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he? 15 points to his name. So it's been a great car changer so far late in the season for Lay. He's still warming up the tyres a little bit, or maybe he's realised he's on stream and decided to just weave to sort of get our attention here.
Some people do that. Some people actually race with the streamer. I really don't know how they do it. I genuinely have no idea how.
If you've got no race engineer and you want somebody who can got a better view of the track to tell you what's going on up ahead of the road, so you can maybe avoid a pile up on the first lap, then it maybe makes sense. Over the line he comes. It looks like he may have cut the track at Ascari, I believe, so that's why that lap didn't count there.
Yeah, good point. Well, man, Niclas Hubin has not left the pit lane as yet. So, as I do tend to remind people, so those that may not be familiar with the setup here and wondering why we have no hypercars on track, for instance, the qualifying session is one 25-minute session that is split into two 10-minute sessions for first 10 minutes for our GT3s. Then there is a 5-minute overlap for the last laps to be completed, and then our hypercars to ready themselves at the end of the pit lane, and for our GT3s to get out of the way. And then when 10 minutes is then remaining on the clock, our hypercars are then released, and they then have the same length of time on track, plus whatever time they need to finish their laps. As Artem Manicha in the Corvette briefly held the toss well, then Lewis Werrell has taken the taken that toss. So it's Corvette, Lamborghini Corvette at the top of the tree at the moment. Of course, Alexis Herod continuing his somewhat strong performance, has had a podium in every single race thus far in the season. So you could pretty much almost afford to park the car and go home at this stage. As a very black livery there for Portal in the 64 Lamborghini, setting a new personal best. It looks like. So we'll see if he is able to rise any higher than 16th. Improvement in time, but not position.
Yeah, it's actually a fair point that Hearn. Well, I don't think he can afford to go in because Luke White essentially needs to finish in the top two to be. Well, he needs to finish ahead of Hearn, and if Hearn drops out, then he still needs to finish in the top two because he's got that third place from Silverstone to fall back upon. So yeah, he's essentially racing against him on track, and the sort of invisible third place that he's banked as well if Hearn is not running on the podium essentially. So it is kind of a. It's a difficult situation, but Luke, if anybody can rise to it, it would be Luke Whitehead then. So nonetheless, having these Corvettes in the mix, it could be that Manisha and Werrell have trimmed the wings a bit, so maybe they'll be quicker in qualifying, but perhaps not necessarily have the tyre wear. We have seen the Corvette often fall back a little bit from brilliant qualifying performances early in the season, so maybe Monza is a better circuit. Maybe they can hold on. Ramone has hit trouble in the McLaren 720S, so that's his qualifying done. 40 seconds or so left on the clock, and another great lap. Manisha gets onto the front row, but Werrell goes even faster, and that's immediately beaten by Hearn. Can Whitehead get anywhere near? No, not a great lap for Luke Whitehead. Stays in fifth behind Gaskell.
Look how close the top times are. That is absolutely astonishing. Bearing in mind, as you can see on the tower, it's nearly a minute 50. You're not far off 2-minute lap here for GT3s at Monza. Oh, that's Alexander Hanna. That I wondered if he was actually
from Bessier, yeah.
I think he was, yeah, as you say, he was picking up a very cheeky toe there from Marin Bessier. I wondered for a second if the Frenchman was actually holding him up, but didn't seem to be the case. As we look at Alexander Lay in the Oplite Mustang, it looked a little bit uncomfortable coming into Parabolica then, but gets him slowed down. Now the yellow flags you're seeing are people, I think, just bringing their cars to a halt. Then I'm not seeing any impact on the timing screen. There is Whitehead purple in sector 1 by a very tiny margin. What can he do here? Now down to 7th. You don't expect to see Luke Whitehead. We have seen a few times where the qualifying position hasn't really worked out too well for him. 2 wins and another podium to his name through the season. Should have been, hey, there's always going to be a forever argument. It should have been 3, but the penalty at Paul Ricard denied him that. Personal best in sector 2, picking up. Is that still Heron? He's picking up a slipstream from.
Ever so slightly. Well, it's certainly a power move from Alexis Hearn, isn't it? Who's looking set to get pole position. Remember, he's going for 4 wins in a row, which has never been done in the Platinum Split. The only other driver that's done it in VMS is in the Gold Split, and that is Jakob Matrese, who's of course a teammate of Luke Whitehead at Tatum Esports. Maybe having won this race in the Gold Split, Matrese giving a few tips to his teammate Luke Whitehead. Whitehead goes up to P4 then, so a better, not purple in the second or third sectors, but good enough to get himself onto the second row right alongside Manisha at the present moment. But we still got Kolosov, I think, still going out there. Hamadani toward the line, can only go 6th fastest in his Lamborghini. So it doesn't look like any of the Mustangs can get near Whitehead's times here. So Luke Whitehead getting the most out of it and only just over a 10th away from pole position. So as you say, razor thin margins here as we see Nicholas Lemoyne finish his qualifying session.
God blimey, you've got to go right the way down to Nicholas Lemoyne in 15th before you get half a second off of the pole spot. That is how close this field is, and it is going to be a slipstream fest here at Monza. But this is how the grid looks in. Alexis Herent and Lewis Werrell. What a statement of intent. 27 thousandths off the back of the championship leader. That's a stunning effort from the newcomer. Artem Manisha and Luke Whitehead have row 2. Sam Gaskell in the Falcon Mercedes alongside Mehdi Hamidani in the second of the Lamborghinis. Vladislav Kolosov alongside Alexander Hanna have row 4, and Patrick Schindler and Alexander Lay round out the top 10. Thomas Leiden and Remy Delorme in row 6. Christian Margera and Axel Ramanet in the, well, not Sol McLaren. Niclas Huben was in session but didn't set a qualifying time. They have row 7. Nicholas Lemoyne and Marin Bessier have row 8. Julian Hano and Adrian Portal on row 9. As mentioned, Nicholas Huben not setting a time in this session rounds out the GT3 field. So we will have a bit of a lull here as we've got 12 minutes left on the qualifying clock. The hypercars are not allowed to leave session early, despite the fact that all the GT3s have done their times. There are no GT3s on field whatsoever, so that the hypercars do not have an unfair advantage, i.e. more track time. They are not allowed to leave the pit lane until there is 10 minutes left on the clock. They can leave the pit garage if they so felt like it, which none of them will. They will.
Well, they're watching a certain other motor racing rent it from real life. I imagine our GT3 cars are rewinding. Well, they wouldn't be rewinding the VCR. They'd be going back to whatever on-demand streaming service.
You are not old enough to remember VCRs, sir. I am. You are not, and I know that.
Well, I know what they look like, and Niclas says as well. He is as well.
Niclas Domino in production. He said, "I'm old enough to remember." That is true. Just.
Okay. So what's the cutoff? Because I'm 30, so I don't know if that's the cutoff is like 35 or something for you.
I was pretty young when I was using VCRs. In fairness,
same here, yeah.
And there we go. So now the hypercars are now starting to leave the garage.
It's Cantor.
There's Marco
beautiful new livery
in the re-liveried Peugeot.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a French team that used to run them. Was it Orica or I forget the name of the team, but they used to run loads of LMP2 sort of cars, Oricas and Alpines at Le Mans. I can't remember the name of the team, but it was a French team, and they always used to run these sort of blue and yellow cars with like white in the middle of the cockpit.
I do quite like that. It's a very striking livery, and then can't quite.
Mind you, it's a field of striking liveries.
True. Very, very true.
Orica, that is what I'm thinking of, yes. That was it. That's what I remember, because I remember the other Peugeots would return. I think the Orica at one point was the only one left at some point in one of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. But of course, Peugeot didn't they infamously win in, I think it was 2009, or was it 2011? It was on their only victory at Le Mans. It was 2009, yes. But otherwise, they're just... Niclas Domino also reminded me that they won it 2 times in the early 90s as well. So yeah, of course they did, with John Todd running the team. Yeah, so and that was the Mark
Racing Encyclopedia that is Nick Dobbs.
Yeah, there we go. But anyway, Cantor will be hoping to get a few more points on the board. His best result so far this season in that Peugeot is 6th, of course. We've seen the trend has been the Peugeot's really strong in qualifying. Once they get the tyres up to temperature, but come the race on that first lap, is basically they are fighting to sort of keep in a straight line, essentially.
Yeah. Fabio Grigoletto, current championship leader, but by a very, very narrow margin over Isaac Gillison. Was a slightly wider margin than it was going to be following Interlagos. Isaac Gillison did cross the line first, however, was given a post-race 10-second penalty for an impact with Johannes Price, as Ed was mentioning at the top of the show. So that gave the win to Sven Gilhead instead. So that has opened the point gap back up to 9 points. And being that both drivers have a 0-point drop score, that is still going to be the case. And there it is. Fabio Grigoletto by 9 points at the top of the table. So much still to fight for in our hypercar class. Isaac Gillison in second, Sven Gilhead in third on 82, so he's still in with a slightly more of an outside shot, but a shot nonetheless. Brandon Geitz all the way up into fourth. Stunning effort in the Peugeot. He's on 53. And Dario Yemolo, I think it's fair to say, has been a somewhat mixed season for the Italian. Only getting his kind of saving grace, really, was second at Spa. He's in fifth. Marco De Bueno, 1 point behind him in sixth. Yanni Simoncic, who we believe is not here this evening, in seventh. Arda Ercan, following a car change, successful car change because he's podiumed twice since then. In eighth, Johannes Price in ninth, and Matthias Latau rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, let's not forget, of course, Chris, in terms of the championship, Sven Giel, of course, inheriting that victory. Nonetheless, had to work really hard to get into second position. There was a great sequence of the race where him and Ercan decided to try and pit late. His teammate Ercan, of course, in the Cadillac for Vulcan Door Esports. They tried to pit a bit later, and they did come out ahead because of the tire warming process taking a bit of time. But then by that point, Gillison was able to warm tires and easily get past them. And indeed, his teammate Dario Milo did sort of the same thing, pitting even later, and then being sort of easy meat for both of the Alpine and the Cadillac of Gilhead and Ercan then. So Sven Gilhead, he didn't really fancy his chances. We interviewed him afterwards. He said, oh, well, Monza and Circuit they're not circuits that necessarily suit the Alpine all that well. But in the gold split, we did actually see Nathan Perron take his first podium here of that season at Monza. So, I don't know. It did take a bit of rain, though, admittedly, to make that happen. No rain on the radar today, mercifully for some of our drivers. It was Cantor first over the line, him and Price topping the timing screen. Grigoletto taking it very easy on his first lap, but no cause for concern for the championship leader there because they're all still warming up the tyres. You see Brandon Geitz and the two Ferraris behind visibly demonstrating that. So Grigoletto, though, after really a terrible performance, he was just falling back the entire race and then got involved in a huge crash, didn't he? That severely damaged his car and left him well out the points at Interlagos. So Grigoletto really trying to bounce back from really two difficult rounds for him. He was fourth in Sebring after losing out to Michi Hoyer. And Interlagos, as we said, went very, very badly. Other than that, he's really been on good form. Silverstone was, I guess, a little bit of a tricky round for him where he at least finished, unlike Isaac Gillison. But yeah, it is nip and tuck. And Gillison, having basically had two non-scores, is having quite the fight back, because every other race apart from those two, and of course he missed the first one, and as I said, retired from Silverstone. Apart from that, he's never been off the podium. So yeah, Gillison's consistency has kept him very much in play here, and Grigoletto has got to soak up the pressure in what might not necessarily be the fastest car, but it is very consistent, the Cadillac.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing, isn't it? Is being that we have double points as well for Le Mans for our season finale, because it's an endurance race, it carries double points. So yeah, there's still an opportunity. If today doesn't go well for some of our drivers, there's still that chance to, you know, score well and claw back any losses for today. But it is very much the last chance saloon if that is the way people are going to go, as we now have our fastest laps of the race starting to be of the race. No, I'm a little ahead of qualifying. Yes, getting a bit of Dario Miller. I thought Dario Miller was having a big moment there, but he's still warming up his tires. It looked like just as the camera cut him, he caught a curb, was heading to the wall. But nope, he's just giving himself a bit of a wiggle to get any heat into his tires that he can. Currently, Fabio Grigoletto at the top of the tree. Isaac Gillison right behind by 300ths of a second. As always, between those two, very, very close. Marco De Bueno, as we now look at in the BMW. Again, you want to talk about a season of mixed fortunes. Third in Fuji, third in Silverstone. It's been slim pickings around that, I think it's fair to say. Marcus Ulrich now getting to the top of the tree.
Yeah, there we
Marcus
go.
Moritz, rather.
Marcus, I'm confused. Are we inventing drivers here? But,
that's
Moritz Ulrich, isn't it? Yes. There we go. Moritz Ulrich then for Fisher Racing Esports. Setting a time, exactly the same as Gilhead, to 3 decimal places, but Gilhead set it first. So the Alpine currently on provisional pole with 3.5 minutes to go. So Gilhead, he's the only Alpine, and it seems to be absolutely on song with the Ferrari in a straight line then, but it's nip and tuck, nothing to choose between. And then Grigoletto, only 17 thousandths of a second behind both of them, and going faster on this lap.
Well, it's going to be rapid fire, isn't it? There's another fastest lap from Grigoletto. See you go. That uniformity's still there. That's brilliant. Gillison, he's purple sector 2, up in sector 1. Is still pressing on, wants all of the silverware to himself. Coming into Parabolica now, hugs that inside line. Just lets the car wander over to the right. It flirts with the AstroTurf on the outside line. And what does Gillison get on the board here? It was lost in sector 3, so that's denied him the pole. Dario Yamalo at the top of the tree now, so waving the local flag, the Italian in the Ferrari, currently top of the tree in Monza. Moritz Ulrich can't regain it for the time being, remains in 5th.
Yeah, let's remind ourselves, of course, Ulrich only 1 point on the board from Sebring. He failed to score last time out at Interlagos. Had a bit of a difficult race as Gillard again gets the Alpine to the top of the, and that's a great lap, 134.9. So first man the 134s and 2.5 tenths clear of Emulo. But here is De Buono in the one of 2 BMW hypercars here, the 444. Trying to turn what's been a difficult last few races around. De Buono, he's never lacked pace really, but trouble has often found him in the last couple of rounds essentially, and that's left him 6th in the championship when he started off very, very strong in the top 3 in the first couple of rounds, of course. So certainly De Buono will be going to prove something and make sure he secures that place in the top 10 ahead of season 5 of VMS, of course, which will be rapidly approaching. De Buono goes 2nd fastest behind Gielhead. Of course, it would be very helpful for Taylor and Racetech Esports to have at least one of their cars on pole position. And Rafael Biela in the Ferrari goes 3rd fastest. It's a great time by Rafael there.
Paul Puo causing a yellow there. I think he'd made a mistake somewhere. Let's see what had happened to the 29 car. I think he's going to set the lap and pull over, isn't he? Yeah.
Indeed. Anyway, my dinner has just been served, so I'm going to very quickly go eat it and come back before the race starts. So qualifying, building to a climax, and I'll leave it in your hands, Chris.
Thanking you, good sir. So Ed goes to deal with the important stuff, and Fabio Grigoletto back in the garage. He will do no higher than 7th. Oh, again, this tail end of the season seems to be really undoing itself for the championship leader. There is Johannes Price in the Peugeot. What can he do here? He's not improving so far. 15th is not going to help his championship efforts. He's 9th in the championship. Was 2nd on the podium in Silverstone. That has not been able to recapture that form, unfortunately. As he comes through Parabolica, is he going to be able to improve? Several people. There goes Marco Cantor. You can see on the tower improving. Is there an improvement here from Price? Well, in that final sector, yes, but he remained in 15th position. The entire field. Yevgeny Simoncic not setting a time. I didn't think Simoncic's results are going to be here, but he is in the session if he hasn't set the time. Oh, he's not here. He was originally registered to be here. That's why he's showing as on the tower. But he has opted not to take part in, which is what he told us, in fairness, before we got underway this evening. There's Dario Yamalo, purple sector 3, but no improvement. Remains in there, just 0.5 tenth off of that stunning effort from Sven Gielhead, the only driver into the 34s. Excellent effort in the Alpine. Arda Erchan having changed car in time for Sebring. He is coming over the line. He's in the Cadillac. 2nd for the number 33 for the Falcon Cadillac. Excellent drive. Oh, and that's Michi Hoyer. The German has flirted too much with the gravel, and that has spat him into the wall. He was up in the 2nd sector, although down in the 1st, and he will not be improving with that. The entire field, not even a second apart, not even 3/4 of a second apart. With Demi Menard being our last qualifying effort there. So this is how the grid looks for our hypercars. They're so incredibly close. And look at that, Arda Erchan and Isaac Gillison to the thousandths of a second. That's absolutely incredible. So that's twice we've seen that tonight. Sven Gielhead then with a 34.963, the only driver to beat 135. He sits on the front row with Arda Erchan. Then it's a Ferrari 2nd row. Pleasing the Tifosi, Isaac Gillison and Dario Yamalo on row 2. Marco De Buono and Rafael Biela have row 3 with Fabio Grigoletto and Matheus Natal. Great effort for him in the 276 car. On row 4 with Marco Cantor and Leonardo Pisoni rounding out the top 10. Moritz Ulrich and Brandon Geitz have row 6, Paul Puo and Michi Hoyer on row 7. Johannes Price and Jimmy Menard rounding out the field on row 8. And like we say, Yoni Simic is not with us this evening. Oh my goodness me. That it as we always see in this split, as we've enjoyed all season long, we've seen very, very, very close qualifying times, and we have been treated to some amazing racing here at VMS. And this race is going to be no different. But of course, the championships are still both in play. Obviously, the GT3, a little bit more one-sided. No disrespect meant to any of our GT3 competitors, certainly not to Alexis Heron, who's just done an absolutely stunning job finishing every single race on the podium. And there is the championship standings for our GT3s. Winning 4 races this season, 3 on the bounce, Spa, Sebring, and Interlagos, and also taking the win at Paul Ricard. So, as we are now transitioning into the race then, so this will be for last minute setup changes to take place, and we'll see the cars pop into existence. That is just before the Parabolica is where they will come into existence. Then it'll be a rolling start, and then we will have our 60-minute race underway. Of course, we have to get there first, and as is often the way in Italy, look at that, all sunshine in beautiful Tifosi territory. So as we go, we can't speed up the clock. We have to wait for everybody to confirm whatever changes they're going to make, and then as we see our hypercars popping into existence, I'm sure the local fans would love to see that as the front row as our 2 Ferraris, but as we know, not the case. Just waiting for everybody to confirm where they are standing. Looking at my timing screen, most people going for medium tires. All of the GT3s have gone for mediums on both sides of the car. A few differences in tire choices for our hypercars, curiously. Our front row has gone all hards, whereas, well, actually quite a few hypercars have gone all hards. And there we go. You can see the tire choices. All GT3s have gone mediums. So the front row's gone hards. Marco De Bueno, Fabio Grigoletto, and Michi Hoyer have gone hard. Moritz Ulrich has gone for mixed, and the rest have gone medium. So curious tire choice.
Oh, by the way, I'm back.
Production.
Sorry, that was a bit
reminding me to do something. And wow, perfect timing there, Ed.
Yeah, looks like we're about to get underway, and Falcon Door Esports controlling the front row. Perfect for Gielhead and Gillison and Demule on the second row.
Absolutely true. It is a Falcon front row and Ferrari Esports row 2. Let us see then how this comes. Do you want to take the start, Ed?
Sure thing then. Well, we're moments away from getting our penultimate race of the Platinum Split season underway. Here we go, and already a drive through for Christian Malgaro in GD3 down in 13th. That will not help him, but look at Gielhead and Erchan. Erchan going for the outside on his teammate into turn 1, the Redifilio here, and it's almost free wide. De Bueno trying to get alongside the 2 Ferraris. Gillison holding on to third. He's got the inside. He's got Emulo now going side by side with him, but it is Gielhead going around the outside of Erchan that will hold on to the lead from Emulo, Gillison. Rafael Bilage gets ahead of De Bueno, so the Frenchman, after a strong qualifying, making a good start here, getting his Ferrari into the mix. They're still side by side in that battle for 5th position as they come into the second chicane at Monza. Gillison slots back up the inside of Emulo. That looked like Dario Emulo deciding not to fight too hard there against his teammate competing for the championship, especially with Grigoletto still down in 7th behind Bila. They need to take advantage, and that's exactly what they've done so far. But it's Gielhead that has made the perfect start here, and Erchan is right behind to help back him up. So 2 of our top teams going at it for the lead. Meanwhile, Werrell has made an absolutely fantastic start, Lewis Werrell, and he's taken the lead. Hearn is down to P4 So Whitehead doing exactly what he needs at the present moment to keep the GT3 title battle going.
Wow, that's not what you expected to see. The newcomer nailing the start. We didn't, unfortunately, we couldn't see exactly how the GT3 start unfolded, but the newcomer in the 24 Corvette has he's got a face full of dust from the tail end of
it messes up that lovely livery. The Bumblebee has gone more sandy than yellow and black now.
But everybody has survived the opening gambits. We have had Artem Minicha did not take the start, unfortunately. So
and neither did Jene Simičić. So clearly he's got someone else who was prioritised because he sat out all the qualifying too.
Yeah, Niclas Hubin was registered to take part, but did not take it as such. As we got lots of side-by-sides going on, Cantor and Boyer arguing for their own bit of real estate. That's Michi Hoyer bouncing off of the inside of the lane racing ace. Oh, goodness me, the German squeezing his way past the Italian through Curva Grande. Is there going to be a bit of a late move into Darloggia? No, not quite. I know they're not called that these. Well, I still call them that. The track maps say first chicane, second chicane.
Della Roggia, yeah, that was what I was trying to remember what it was called. I just called it the second chicane at Monza.
As we now look at Alexander Lay on the back of Vladislav Kolosov, the Lamborghini being hustled by the Mustang. No change there. Everyone's there's a lot of dust being kicked up on the exit of Del Roggia, the second chicane. Into the Lesmos then, the banked right-handers. That's another gravel trap that's going to see a bit of flirting with it. What are we looking at here? Axel Ramanet and Patrick Schindler. Oh, that's getting a bit tight, is it? Between the Lamborghini and the Falcon Mercedes. They seem to have been okay. Oh, I think that was probably a yellow flag that's been caused. Quite see why, interestingly.
Yeah, I think we also saw in the banger in that replay, it was Lay in the Opelite Mustang going side by side with Hannah and getting through into P7 then. But look at this, Gillison on the charge, and he's now right behind Arda Erchen then. So all of our hypercars now starting to get the tyres up to temperature. So luckily, no sideways out of control action, at least not near the front of the field. And the only big man, the man on the gain, on the charge, I should say, in the BMW is De Bono, who's got past Biela into fifth. And so we've got sort of 5 cars all sort of fighting for victory. We've got the Alpine, the Cadillac of Erchen, the 2 Ferraris, and then the BMW. They are all starting to pull a bit of a gap to those behind then as Gaskell sets the fastest lap, chasing down Whitehead. And that's that all-important second position that Luke Whitehead so desperately needs as a bare minimum. Ideally, he'd like to win, but Lewis Wirral is now 1.2 seconds ahead, making an absolutely superb start in the sole Corvette that's started this race then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, you want to make a statement of intent, lead the race. What an absolutely great
Easier said than done, though.
Oh, isn't it just? As we now look at the second place Falcon car. Oh, decided that Gillison is hustling Arda Erchen hard for that second position. Now looking at the back from the Falcon livery car. Looked like you went a little bit deep there on the exit of Ascari, but keeps the Ferrari at bay. As a reminder, our front 2 hypercars, amongst others, are hard shod. They've started on the harder compound tires, whereas Gillison and Yemelo, the 2 Ferraris chasing them, are on the medium compounds. So we'll see who's going to win out on that one. Although Sven Gilhead in the hard shod Alpine, setting a new fastest lap with Arda Erchen very much acting as his rear gunner at this point in time. I think it's fair to say, and you've pointed this out as well, Ed, that the car change for Arda Erchen has really paid massive dividends for him. He's been on the podium twice and is looking to really keep hold of the top honors, or certainly in the podium contention, once again here in Monza.
Yeah, he is, even with that car change very late in the season after 4 rounds, so midway through, exactly, going from the Toyota to the Cadillac. He's finished, of course, the last 2 races on the podium. He is... He was very quick in the Toyota, but A, he was the only one running it, and B, it was so skittish. There were races like Silverstone where he crashed out while fighting for the lead. One of a number of drivers, because that was one of the first races post-update, of course, in Platinum Split, I think. So everybody was getting used to having to warm up the tyres and bed them in, essentially, as we look at Gaskell now driving for Falcon Door Esports. Don't think we mentioned that yet, but he's a recent signing for that team, of course, after his brilliant performance on the podium at Sebring. And now he's another driver that Luke Whitehead really does not want to deal with right now. But of course, he's almost thankful that he's got him in the way of Alexis Hearn, so at least he doesn't have to directly fight his title rival. And they've all been slowly starting to catch back up to Lewis Burrell, who's now only 9/10 ahead of them then. So 4 for the lead in GD3 here, and all of them in different car manufacturers. So different strengths and weaknesses for all of them. And speaking of which, Michi Hoyer cannot shake Marco Camper, the man in the Peugeot, in his local home race, the Italian, looking to get the number 3 ahead of the 110 here. But Hoyer, another very, very experienced driver who had a very, very tough round, didn't he, at Interlagos. Just snuck a couple of points after Simic had a late crash on the final lap, I think. So that meant that Hoyer finished 9th instead of 10th. But yeah, definitely gambling on the tyre change didn't quite work. I think Hoyer was the very, very first to change tyres and end up putting him a lap down because it's such a short lap at Interlagos then. So Hoyer holding firm in 13th for the time being, but he really would want to be up there with Geitz and Pisoni and looking to sneak into the top 10 by the end of this stint before the pit stops begin. But yeah, the lead has all been quite bunched together behind Erchan. Certainly is the benefit of those behind, as we see all fastest laps being traded. Whitehead currently fastest in GD3. That's a very, very good sign for the man second in the championship, who, as we know, it's so important that he gets as many points out of this one as he can, especially with Hearn behind him, crucially.
Yeah, very, very true. And, you know, referring to Michi Hoyer, has been a very challenging season for him as well. Speaking of, that's, yeah, Michi Hoyer fending off all the pressure from Marco Canter. The Peugeot really trying to wrestle that position away from Michi Hoyer. And Michi was, he started the season in the Alpine and changed over for Spa into the Ferrari. Which didn't pay off for him. He didn't finish in Spa. He came home 3rd at Sebring. Like you say, Interlagos did not pay off well for him. The strategy undoing itself for the German. We currently look at Isaac Gillison still trying to wrestle his way past Arda Erchan with Dario Yamalo right behind him. And right behind them is Marco De Bueno in the lead BMW. Rafael Biela is just out of camera shot in the next Ferrari. There he is.
And then there's Grigoletto, our championship leader, still down in P7, not really making too much of an impression on Biela here. So yeah, it may not have been much that he was off pole position, but of course, come the race, when you haven't got the track position and you see a little mistake coming out of Della Roggia chicane there, and that allows Matthias Letao, our man 10th in the championship, the Frenchman, closing in for ERE Esports here. So yeah, Grigoletto under a bit of pressure here, and if he loses even more points to Gillison and Gilhead, it could put him in a really, really precarious position. Maybe not even in the championship lead for the first time in a long time this season. The man who's won the last 2 VMS Platinum Split titles. Really starting to feel the pressure, but look here, this is Kolosov in the pink and black Lamborghini, chasing down the fellow Lamborghini of our man, 3rd place in the standings. Mehdi Hamadani's got to run up the inside into Red Ophelio. Hamadani will slot in behind the car number 76, and Kolosov gets into P5.
That he does. Yeah, fairly straightforward maneuver, but well executed nonetheless. As we cut back now to the hypercar conga line for 2nd place. The Ferrari still chasing very, very hard the Cadillac. And there's Marco De Bueno making himself known. Look at the defensive posture for Grigoletto. Matthias Letao getting the overspeed, but not able to use it. Fabio Grigoletto, I'll try that whole name again. Fabio Grigoletto parking that Cadillac on the braking zone towards the Del Roggia. No, Rettifilio. Right.
We've already passed that, yes.
Yeah.
And that's small little pause to figure out which corner you were talking about. We'd already passed the corner, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the fast-moving sport, and sometimes quite literally. But yeah, the important thing is Erchan doing a brilliant defensive job is really allowing Gilhead to pull a nearly 3-second gap now. So if you are Isaac Gillison in this situation, of course, your main title rival, Grigoletto, further down the road, of course, but you really don't want Gilhead to get into this picture here. So is there a bit of frustration here, or is Gillison playing the long game, maybe saving a bit of fuel in some of these braking zones, knowing that it will be difficult to pass Arda Erchan, at least at this point in the stint, and he's got his teammate Imulo, crucially, to be his own kind of buffer to any attack from De Bueno and Tatum Esports here. So yeah, Gillison is kind of in the middle of a sandwich here, and he's almost trapped at the moment. There's not much he can do to escape here.
I would imagine there is an element of frustration knowing that the longer he stays behind Arderchan, the further down the road Sven Gilhig gets. And, you know, Isaac Gillison will want to capitalize on the fact that Fabio Grigoletto again has not had the greatest start. We now are working our way through
64 in the way.
Yeah, that is Adrian Portal in the
either side.
Oh my goodness me. Is that Yamalo coming past? It is. That's Dario Yamalo getting past Gillison. That looked a bit coordinated. Well,
no, I don't think it was.
Or forced. Yeah, I wonder if Yamalo just had a decent run. Oh, that's Domino getting a run on the way to the second chicane. I'm going to chicken out and say that.
Del Roger, yes. As we get to Lesmo 1.
Oh,
and is that Julian Heno being lapped there as well? So, yeah, the problem here now is the Remy DeLorme being dealt with into second Lesmo by Dario Mulo, and now Gillison and De Buono. The problem there with Portal was that basically because they'd all been so backed up into De Buono, Mulo had to go for the move when he did, so that the BMW didn't jump ahead of him as well. And in doing so, of course, he's put Gillison down to fourth and left him a bit at the mercy, but he's trying to get a position back now as they lap the GD3s, or maybe he just came upon one at the apex there, and we're almost going to go 3 wide into the final corner here. It's really, really physical. Luckily, Gillison is ahead, but now Emulo will have to defend on the inside, and there's Marin Bessier in the way here, so Marco De Buono making himself a real threat, and here comes Rafael Bieler up the inside. It's almost 2 rows of 2 wide, and the 2 Ferrari Esports factory drivers in a real fight here as De Buono gets physical from the outside. Once again, they go either side of Alexandra Lay, and now Bieler is looking to get involved as well to the outside. De Buono now trying to go past Gillison for P3, and he's got just about made the corner there.
Oh, he just managed to do that whilst they were working their way past. I think it was Hamidani that they were just going past, but that momentary loss of momentum for De Buono has cost him because Gillison's managed to get through. Oh, goodness me, that got very, very tight with the hypercars. See, this is always the hypercars' kind of worst nightmare when they first come. Oh, no! Gillison! That's Gillison that's tripped over the nose of Marco De Buono. 2 into 1 doesn't go, and into the Dalmatia, it's almost always going to go badly if you're going to go side by side there. That's Isaac Gillison now down right the way to the back of the hypercars.
Yeah, there we go. Julian Menard just ahead of him then, but a very, very costly decision. So he's side by side with De Buono through Curva Grande. Marco De Buono's got the inside. You can see Bieler make a move on Emulo in the background. They make a little touch of the apex. Gillison turns it for the outside and then just gets tagged around there. So, yeah, Isaac Gillison is going to be absolutely furious with Marco De Buono there. And he will say, from a team perspective, as he just fends off Julian Menard, let's hope the number 21 isn't too badly damaged there. But he'll say that was a move to help Fabio Grigoletto there. And you can see there is Grigoletto right behind Bieler. And actually, is that De Buono going back up the inside? So Marco De Buono's lost a bit of time in all of that chaos there. And he's now fighting away with his teammate for position.
Well, both of the Italians are...
Oh, wiggling. They're both wiggling at each other. He's telling Marco and Fabio both telling each other to get on with it here.
Well, that's the thing. You know, they have gone for the hard tyres, as you can see on the graphics at the bottom. And is that going to pay off? They're hoping that's going to pay off for them in the long run. It's certainly working out well for Sven Gilham, but that is largely down to Arda Erchan. Do great.
Look at Gillison though. He's past. He's in a fight with Pisoni, and he's got past Cantor as well, side by side. I think he's cleared both of them into P13. He's now having a go at Johannes Price. They're all so tucked and bunched in together that look at that, so aggressive up the inside and take absolutely no prisoners, not even making the corner. And Price is around in the background as well.
Couldn't quite tell if there was impact on the Peugeot there of Johannes Price, but
I don't think it was. I think he got over the curb and lost it on his own there.
You could well be right there, Ed. And yeah, I think, listen, that is a man that is...
a man possessed, yes, by anger.
I think there is a lot of anger going on in that cockpit at the moment. So let's see it again as Johannes Price. There he is in the Peugeot being chased by, I think that was... So that is Gillison. So let's see this again. Oh, these two couldn't have come together because Gillison was ahead. There he goes.
Yeah, no, locked up at the rear. There we go.
So that was all on... I was hoping that those two hadn't come together again, but No, that was an error there for Johannes Price. And that's
It's difficult for Gillison to give the position back, having locked up and missed the corner when Price spun behind him. As we see, this is Bessier and Alexander Hanna coming together, and Bessier ends up being tagged around and blocking Hanna. So yeah, not great for either of them there, and that's cost them a load of positions.
Oh dear, getting a little bit scrappy in certain parts of the field then. Sven Gilhard sets another fastest lap, and that's on.
Oh, Gilhard is spun around. Yellow flag. Erchan takes the lead. Listen, in the gravel.
I want.
Gilhard in the gravel. Sorry.
Now I saw he lagged a few times, but he's just set the fastest lap of the race. So what on earth has happened?
Either way, that could be the end of his title hopes. Then, it's coming through into Curva Grande. Is there some sort of problem? He just goes straight on the connection.
Yeah,
looks like it's dropping.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, and he rejoins in the barrier at Curva Grande and bounces off it. So
I've been watching him on the track. He's actually been having connection issue all night. So he was having a lot of trouble in qualifying that I could see. He would rematerialize somewhere else. So he's been having technical issues all night. You never want to see it. Sven Gilhard out of this race from what was looking a pretty comfortable lead. So Arda Erchan now takes over the lead. So look at that. He's done 2 spots on the podium. He was second in Sebring and third last time out in Interlagos. Could he have that top spot to himself? We will see. Long way to go. We've still got over an hour of the race to run. Dario Yemelo is 3.7 seconds behind the Cadillac now. We'll see how that unfolds with Dario Yemelo with Rafael Biela hot on his case.
Yeah, I've been more worried about Biela at this point because the Frenchman has been on a really retraining form. Remember, top 6, wasn't it, last time out at Interlagos. Since switching to the Ferrari, the French online sim race, he's been absolutely flying and really showing what he can do at the top level. So it's amazing to see Biela, who was kind of in the Porsche 963 and as a result a bit of a bang marker in the early races this season, now on the bottom step of the podium ahead of De Bueno then. So he's actually passed De Bueno in recent history, and here is Leonardo Pisoni trying to pass, that must be Jimmy Menard then into the Della Roggia chicane, and it's the Ferrari that's got the inside on the Peugeot, and Menard has to take to the runoff there, and is that going to allow Cantor to squeeze through the middle of both of them into Lesmo? One brilliant stuff there from the Italian, and he gets up into 12th position as, dear, that looks like Menard in the gravel. So him and Pisoni making contact at Lesmo 1 there.
Again, 2 into 1 doesn't go. We've seen it numerous times already this race, let alone in the past. 2 into 1 into Del Roggia is not going to work out. And there was a slight tap on
Menard was going for a closing gap up the inside there. That was a bit ambitious.
So there is, Menard, that was Menard and Price that was involved in that one, as we now look at still Vladislav Kolosov fending off the advances of the Off-White Mustang of Alexandre Lay. So that's for 5th position, or that what has now become 5th position, with obviously everybody going up a position. Oh no, that was a hypercar that disappeared. Never mind, ignore that statement. So
the other big battle, of course, by the way, sorry to cut Chris, is that lead fight as we cut back even further back. That is Remy Delorme trying to fend off Hanna and Heno, 2 similar names there, and I think Bessier recovering in his Mustang after that being spun around right behind them as well. So Remy Delorme could be a bit vulnerable into his Scari, but he just gets the Lexus ahead of the fellow Lexus of Alexander Hanna there. So yeah, definitely Hanna and Bessier after making contact now trying to get back into the top 10 there as we cut back to De Bueno, who I think has just passed Rafael Biela into Della Roggia chicane there and retaken 3rd position then. So that's great news for Emilio, because while they're battling each other, they're not fighting him.
Yeah, well observed there, Ed. That was indeed the BMW getting past the Ferrari. So through Curva Grande in the slipstream, jumps out, gets a bit of slipstream, or a tiny bit of slipstream from the next Ferrari in line. Tiny bit of lockup there, but does manage to slow the BMW down. That is 3rd position then to Marco De Bueno. Probably has Dario Yemelo to thank for a tiny bit more slipstream in that maneuver. But the Italian now up into 3rd position. Slightly further back, Moritz Ulrich with Paul Puo for company. The Frenchman in the BMW trying to get the outside line. Moritz Ulrich, I think, is the only one to opt for a mixed tyre setup, mediums on one side and Hart on the other. Goes immediately to that defensive posture. Try and break the momentum of the BMW. Paul Puo commits to it along the outside line. We'll see if that move pays off shortly. Oh, bit of contact. There's been a lot of contact in this race, side by side through Retafilio. Moritz Ulrich manages to get the traction where he needs it, keeps the Frenchman behind, and right behind them as well, that is Brandon Geitz in the next Peugeot, right with Michi Hoyer. So fabulous battle, and again side by side into the Del Rogier, get it sorted out, and they do. This time around, Ulrich is going to have to let that one go.
You can see this pack is starting to panic because they can see the group ahead of basically 7th place upwards of Ulrich and such starting to pull away. So there's like fight each other to get to the head of the train so they can pull away and catch the sort of leading groups that are essentially fighting for the podium right now. And not least of which, we've got Isaac Gillison 3 seconds down, really pushing to catch up to Hoyer and become part of that fight himself then. And of course, Gillison has really got to play the long game here. An hour left in this race, of course, but having stayed out of trouble, Grigoletto, of course, has gotten up to 5th and is now looking to turn around what was looking at a difficult situation down in 7th with Gillison on the podium. Now, Grigoletto is our leading title contender, looking to at least extend that championship lead by a couple of points, but still quite a way to go. Gillison is not out of the picture just yet, but certainly with Gearhad out of the race, it's now just a 2-horse race for the hypercar title, as indeed it is in GD3 too, as we see briefly yellow flags in the first sector, and Lewis Werrell is only half a second ahead of Whitehead then, with Gaskell nipping at both of their heels. It looks like our championship leader Hearn has backed off a little bit from that lead fight as we look at Delorme and Hannah dueling away into... Oh no, Delorme, that's not the... He seems to have had pulled right off with an issue there, and the 97, not for the first time, is having to retire. Oh, that was a bit of a glitch there. I think Hannah's still going in one piece down in P12.
An alternate line, maybe.
Phasing through the barrier, yes.
Yeah, that's one way to do it, I suppose.
Didn't work so well for Paul Geelhead earlier.
No, most certainly not. Yeah, that's a shame for Remy Delorme. So that is, so we've actually lost Christian Margera early in the race. We didn't see how that happened.
Well, he got a penalty for jumping the start.
Yeah, I saw
that. His race
that.
didn't start well, and it continued to not go well, it sounds like. It didn't last very long at all.
Indeed. So Sven Gilhead and now Remy Delorme are 3 retirees from this race thus far, as we continue to look at this group. We're currently focused on Brandon Geitz, Paul Puo just ahead, Michi Hoyer just behind, and Moritz Ulrich leading this Continental. They're now starting to stretch his legs a little. There's Isaac Gillison. I dare say with fairly unbroadcastable words going on in that Ferrari cockpit. Currently, Michi Hoyer's just worked his way ahead of Brandon Geitz. Has he gone too deep into Parabolica? Yes, he does. The Peugeot then, well, that move's not quite done. We'll see how that translates, as Michi Hoyer still doing what he can. He's going to have the outside line coming into Retafilio. Gets a bit of slipstream as well. Yeah, Brandon Geitz
like Geitz pulling over and deciding not to just go side by side at the inside, especially with Gillison catching both of them. They could end up just being sitting ducks if they fight too hard there. So very smart from Brandon Geitz. Discretion, often the better part of Alan. And this is that lead fight then between Whitehead and Werrell. The 2 W's fighting out for the W is in the win. And Gaskell behind looking to get the Mercedes AMG in to spoil the party then. So this is a really interesting mix, but I did not think this win would come between a Corvette, a Mustang, and a Mercedes. That's sort of a real turn up for the books there, because you sort of would expect it to sort of be between Whitehead and Hearn, Mustang versus Lamborghini, but Hearn seems not content to just let them all fight ahead of him in 4th, but he's certainly not taking any unnecessary risks. He knows he's got that 3rd place banked in, so if he can just use this as his drop round, I think that would suit him just nicely, the way things have been going so far this season, even though maybe it might play him out of getting that 4-in-a-row streak in his favour. So not quite history made, as we see side by side Puo, and is that Hoyer trying to get around the outside of Puo, having cleared Brandon Geitz. It's going to be a bit of traffic in the way. That's Alexander Hanna. Hoyer will have to go the long way round, and that could leave him a little bit vulnerable to more slipstream from Paul Puo then, as they go down onto the start-finish straight once again, and Brandon Geitz in the Peugeot is chugging up right behind the both of them, and there you can see the factory Ferrari of Gillison desperately trying to keep his own title hopes in play here. Side by side between Perraud and Hoyer. Perraud again will have to back out from the outside there, but there's yet more traffic. One of Hoyer's teammates in the Lexus, that must be Patrick Schindler, that is passing now, and then Lucas Lemoyne in front of him.
Yeah, very true. And I bet there was a fair amount of clinching going on for Mitchie Hoyer. He was really almost flirting with the outside track limits there with his outside tyres, which didn't go well for him in qualifying, as we saw rather dramatically. As we now ride with Isaac Gillison, he's closed right in on this group. Fueled by Italian rage and anger,
well, he's
most
Dutch,
likely.
So more Verstappen-esque sort of
well, yes.
anger, I guess. But yeah, certainly.
I was focusing so much on the Ferrari element there. Yeah,
true. I guess you can't be part of Ferrari Esports with a bit of the the national character rubbing up on you, even a little bit. Like even towards the end, Michael Schumacher in his Ferrari career was sort of almost a kind of honorary Italian, wasn't he? After spending 10 years at the skid area. But yeah, Gillison, look how much he's pushing. Only 4/10 of his best lap on that previous one, so he is really fighting to try and at least recover into the points here. Luckily, he's still got the pace to maybe get a bit closer to Grigoletto by the end of this one, but the problem is he's got so many cars to pass, and they themselves having to clear the GT3 field side by side, either side of Kolosov. Go Brandon Geitz and Paul Perraud then, as that allows Hoyer to just escape up the road ever so slightly then and focus on catching Moritz Ulrich, who's now right in front of him then. But here comes Brandon Geitz looking for the move on Perraud, but again the Peugeot's a bit too far back. You can see the virtual entry, by the way, which they get a big penalty if they exceed 100 seconds, of course, 42% for both drivers there. So we are beyond halfway point in this first stint then. So how long are they all going to run before making their pit stop? They want to make it as short as possible, have to put in as least fuel needed to get to the end, of course, and Hugh is going to risk it with the tires as well.
Oh, that's a very, very, very busy part of the circuit now at Del Roggia, as we look at Brandon Geitz with Isaac Gillison in hot pursuit. I do not envy that Peugeot driver in the slightest, as Isaac Gillison is nearly runs into the back of the lead GT3 battle, which has gotten very, very close, as we were seeing. And
yeah, Whitehead losing out slightly there to Verrill, so that means Gaskell is going to get just a little bit of a run on him, as we see Brandon Geitz continuing to fend off the man second in the points. Gillison dives up the inside from a long way back there, and Brandon Geitz kind of focusing on his exit here, I think.
I don't think Geitz really fought that one. He could have defended the inside of Ascara if he so felt like it, but yeah, if he wanted to keep the position, he focused entirely on the exit, exactly as you said there, Ed. As we look at Rafael Bila ahead of Fabio Grigoletto now. Marco De Bono sets the new fastest lap in the BMW. He had it beforehand, and he is whittled a little bit more off of it now.
Flashing the lights. He's trying to get the Frenchman to move out of the way, and Rafael Bila just given just enough space to make the red V there. But yeah, crucially, Grigoletto, our championship leader, gaining a position. But look, here comes his championship rival. Having to go side by side into the side of Brandon Geitz there through the first chicane. Now Cantor is getting involved in this battle as well. All this just for P10 at the moment, of course, but Gillison he's got nothing to lose at this phase. He's got to go for it.
Interesting that Brandon Geitz is fighting that. I thought he actually was going to let Isaac Gillison go, but very clearly not the case.
Well, he is fourth in the standings, Brandon Geitz. He's not actually that far away from Gillison and Gill. With Gill out of the picture, Geitz could be looking at P3 in the hypercar standings at the moment. Here's Adrian Portal in the jet black Lamborghini Huracan into Lesmo 2, or he collapsed sideways, so didn't look like he had a fun time there. Looks like he's still going though in P15 though, so luckily it seems to have held, and he's caught right back up to Julian Heno by the looks of things.
Yeah, he's not showing as DNF, so thankfully still going, but it just causes a moment on the race director, which is what brings our attention to it, but we don't know what causes it until we watch it. So as we now look at Geitz, still fending off the advances of Isaac Gillison, who now has Marco Cantor all in his mirrors. This is the last thing Isaac Gillison wanted. He wants to just be able to carve his way through the field and charge off towards Grigoletto, and it is not going his way. No one is obliged to get out of the way. Just because Isaac Gillison is in championship contention means absolutely squat. If they're fighting for position, they're fighting for position. So Brandon Guy's doing nothing wrong here in fighting Isaac Gillison, and he even goes to a slightly more defensive posture coming down into the Retifidio. Quite rightly, does not have to pull over, as Paul Puo and Michi Hoyer just ahead in their battle for 8th position. Are they closing in? I'm sure Isaac Gillison would like to be. And Isaac Gillison's sort of using a reasonable amount of his battery. Doesn't seem to be using too much more of that. His charge is somewhat stunted at the moment behind Brandon Geitz, as we look at Niclas Lemoyne and Patrick Schindler having an argument for who's going to remain inside the top 10.
Yep, so Schindler trying to get the Falcon Dora Esports Lexus up the inside of Lemoyne. Lemoyne not defending into the Retifidio. It's quite a hard one to defend into. You sort of want to hold your line and then focus on your exit, which is exactly what Lemoyne has done in that Mustang then. But what I was going to say, the thing that makes this even worse for Isaac Gillison is if he decides to report and try and get Marco De Bueno to have a penalty, that would benefit Grigoletto, who's now the next car behind him. So almost the incentive is for Ferrari Esports to let that one go at the present moment if it finishes like this, because
oh, the irony. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. So yeah, it's almost like they need De Bueno now to do a good job and sort of keep his teammate behind him. Essentially, we have seen obviously a little bit of controversy in the past, but this season with De Bueno and Grigoletto, whenever they've been on track together, they've very much gone at it as if they weren't even teammates. So fair play to them. They've put in a great show so far this season, and Gillison now needs to find a little something. Yellow flags further up the circuit. Oh, who's that? Is it finally Porto? Is that the connection drop? So another GD3 bites the dust, sadly, here at Monza. So the Temple of Speed not taking any prisoners at the moment.
Yeah, Lasso, the jet black Lamborghini of Adrian Portal is now out. So that's 3 of our GT3s that are now by the wayside. Let's see how it happened. Down at Del Roger.
Whoa. So he's in the gravel already.
So he actually caught those. It wasn't a connection issue. He bounced over the curb. Probably had enough by that point. He was really struggling in this race as it was, and has decided that was the final nail in the coffin and has parked it for today. Marco Cantor flirting with the grass on the exit of the first Lesmo. That keeps it on the straight and narrow nonetheless. That's just going through shot there. Paul Puo still hustling Michi Hoyer very, very closely for that 8th position. Isaac Gillison doesn't seem to have gotten himself right back under the rear wing of Brandon Geist as he was a few laps ago. So has he? I wonder if he's burned the best out of his tires, because he's been pushing that Ferrari very, very hard since his spin earlier on. So
he's also got a bit less virtual energy than some of these cars around him as well, because I think he was hoping to be in the lead group, and having lost that time, he sort of ended up not being able to hold on to his energy like some of the others have as well. We see Michi Hoyer just wisp the edge of the gravel there, to use a made-up adjective there, and now Puo may punish that minor mistake. You can see Ulrich here, 3 seconds between Ulrich and Litau, 3.7 seconds I should say. So all these drivers may well start sort of working together to try and catch the sort of lead group, Litau, Biela, Grigoletto, De Bueno onwards, that are sort of fighting for the podium essentially. But so far in this race, they're all being played a little bit out of it. Even Gillison now being stuck in the traffic. It's actually should fight for position, of course, but that's really kind of dented the amount of places he's been able to claw back here, being stuck behind Geitz. But I wonder if, knowing that Geitz is one of the faster drivers in the field, he's going to try and follow him to catch up to the group in front, rather than fighting like crazy and just losing time.
Another battle as Lemoyne and Schindler still going on. So this is for 10th in the GT3 field, of which 14 now remain. Just coming through Parabolica. We're over halfway in the race, just about. No one has gone into the... Well, I've had several cars go into the pit lane but not come out. No one has done their pit stop just yet, as we switch back to Isaac Gillison.
Geitz looking a lot closer to Puo at the moment, so he's dropped away from Hoyer.
Yeah, so Paul Puo has lost the charge on Michi Hoyer. Again, I wonder if that's a tyre thing. The hard shot cars seem to be kind of coming into their own a little bit more, as the mediums are probably past their best by now. The hard starters, which were Erchan, De Bueno, Jimmy Menard. Jimmy Menard.
He's gone off, I think, at Parabolica.
Let's see if we can get a replay of what happened to Jimmy Menard. It's not been a good day for him in the me saying about the hard shod cars coming into their own, and one of them has exited stage. Oh, big snap of oversteer. Could well have locked up, maybe a little bit too late on the brakes coming into Parabolica, but as he's tried to catch that, that spat him out. And that is our first hypercar retirement of the race.
Who makes another mistake, by the way, 'cause he's gone right in the gravel at De La Roggia, and now Geitz is all over him like a cheap suit then. So this could work out well for Gillison if he can follow Geitz through and then maybe pick off the Peugeot maybe a bit later in the race then. So this is all about picking your fights here at this phase as everybody tries to catch up from being a little bit spread out. The only fight that's really, really close other than Schindler and Lemoyne, looks like Schindler has actually gotten through on Nicholas Lemoyne now for P10. It's that lead fight between Wera Whitehead and Gaskell, all within a second and a half of each other, just 8, 9, 10 separating all three cars from one another.
Yeah, very, very true. We continue to look at Isaac Gillison, as you were pointing out earlier, Ed, with a bit of less energy in the tank. A bit less energy in the tank.
Surely.
You would think so. And, well, I mean, no one's got a healthy amount of it, but Isaac Gillison less so, as you can see on the graphic at the bottom. He's only a few percent in it, but that can make all the difference. Oh, bit of a lock up there for Marco Canter. There's a big slide there for Gillison. I think he's pushed his tyres too much. They're probably screaming hot as well, but as he's tried to get any traction out of Rettifilio, the rear tyres have just looked at him and laughed. But this is Greg Aletto with Rafael Bila on his case, with the Lexus just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oh, that was close. I'm not sure who that was.
Julian Henno, I think.
Yeah.
And Bessier there, they're just lapping now. So actually, Grigoletto not getting a great exit here. So Bila has actually done very well to keep double reigning champion in sight here. And Rafael for the LSX esports team looking to get back into the top 4 here. Both of them you can see running very low on Virtual Energy. So similar situation to Gillison, obviously. Oh, and there's the McLaren that spun. That's Axel Ramone that spun out of the top 8 there in GD3, coming out of Ascari.
Oh, goodness me. One mistake is all it takes, especially when Ramone's out this close. Yeah, now let's see this again.
So he's being lapped by Imulo. Gets over the curb. Oh, and hits the side of the Ferrari.
He actually helped steady the Ferrari then, so loss of rear wing.
Did you see Grigoletto having to really get his reflexes on high alert there to not clatter into the 720S there unsided? And look at this, De Bono. Oh, having a go and passing Dario Mulo for P2 there. So Dario clearly a little bit winded from the incident with Ramone. Now really vulnerable as Brandon Geitz pits, much to the relief of Isaac Gillison, who's back in the top 10 now. But yeah, De Bono absolutely flying now, and only about 5 seconds now of Erchan in the lead.
Cool. You were saying earlier that De Bono and Yemelo aren't afraid of a fight. Let's see what's happened here. So this is the pass then of De Bono on Yemelo, the BMW.
Just doesn't really get a lot of run, and De Bono really gaining in the slipstream here. So incredibly good instincts from the Italian. Pulls the inside, they drive into each other 3, 4, 5 times. Is it going to be number 6 as they get to the apex? Yes, there we go. Just enough room left. So tough but fair defending from Imulo, and then even a little kiss to remember him by on the exit there. Yannis Price has also gone into the pits in another of our Peugeots then. So the Peugeots clearly the ones with either the lowest virtual energy or with the tyres in the worst shape here at this point in the race.
Yeah, the Peugeot pair of Price and Geitz have been through the pits then, and on their merry way they go. There's Sam Gaskell getting very popular with the Yemelo and De Bono battle we were just talking about. No one else yet seeing the pit lane.
Good run for Dario Mulo.
Indeed.
A bit too far back though. Yeah, the BMW just has really good top speed, and look who's slowly taking advantage of the battle behind them. It's Grigoletto, who can't quite pass the Luis Werrell into the Rettifilio, so that will cost him just a little bit of time there. But yeah, Grigoletto has not given up on a chance to sneak himself back into podium contention here. So having fended off Bila may have to worry about Litau, who's right behind us. In comes Pisoni in the Ferrari.
Yep, Leonardo Pisoni is coming in from the lower part of the hypercar contingent as we now look at Isaac Gillison, very much shaking Marco Cantor's pressure off of his tail.
Good look, over 3/10 quicker that previous lap, so having Geitz out the way has actually helped him a bit here. As we see there's Puod still trying to catch up to Michi Hoy. These two have been very close pretty much the entire race, haven't they? The Frenchman and the German.
Very true. I think that was Mehdi Hamadani that they were just bouncing past, as they're now getting past Gaskell. No, that's Thomas Lydon, beg your pardon. Wrong Mercedes. No, I think I was right, actually. That is Sam Gaskell, because that is the lead GT3s we were just looking at there. There's Brandon Geitz, now very much on his own. It looks like he's doing a time trial there. No other cars in sight. Oh, hello. That's Paul Puo getting a switchback on Michi Hoyer. Inside line coming down towards Ret Video and
Parabolica.
Parabolica. I'm getting all the corner names wrong. I even said to myself, oh, I don't need a track map of Monza. I know this one well. Never going to say that to myself again.
Nose place like the back of my hand. Oh, that's new.
Yeah. There's Marco Cantor has brought his car in from the front part of the hypercar field. Yeah, Michi Hoyer knew that one was gone.
Hoyer got a bit held up by the traffic into Ascari. I think it was actually Lewis Werrell. He just came upon exactly the wrong moment for Ascari there, because I saw Ulrich and Puo just about to lap him as well before we cut away. So yeah, Cantor now in, so that's quite sensible rather than being stuck behind Gillison then.
We will see where Marco Cantor reappears once all the pit stops are done and dusted. As we look at the battle for second position, well, it is the top three. It is battle for the lead, but Werrell does have a little bit of a gap, around about a second thereabouts between himself and Luke Whitehead. Alexis Heron still there, though. He's just off the top of the shot. He's now slightly less than 2 seconds behind that lead battle as we look at Marco Cantor getting his Peugeot back up and running.
Yeah, Geitz goes through, so he holds on to that position. He was already ahead of Cantor, and here comes Pisoni and Price.
Indeed. There's Marco Cantor. Is he going to filter in behind the Peugeot? Yeah. So back up to speed again.
Yeah. Look at them still trying to get the tyres to grip at the right of video. There is Johannes Price then. So the Peugeot just surviving. So that shows exactly what Cantor's got to deal with on this outlap as well.
So we now look at Arda Erchan, who's chosen to go on now. He's got less than 4% in the tank.
Yeah.
So he's got to come in next time around.
Yeah, interestingly, De Buono's starting to catch him a little bit there, because the gap's gone from 5.7 to briefly it was 5 seconds there. So yeah, De Buono's starting to put Erchan under a little bit of pressure, and he's been really electric in this race so far, De Buono. Other than one questionable moment was that incident with Gillison, which, yeah, let's hope for De Buono's sake that the stewards are leaning on that. But I suspect, well, even from, as I said, Ferrari Esports may want them to be leaning as well, depending on how close Grigoletto is to the back of him by the end of this.
Kolosov and Hamadani have brought their cars in, so now starting to see some of the GT3 field get their pit crews working. We continue to look at the GT3 lead with Alexis Heron not necessarily pushing. It doesn't. Yeah, that's the thing with Heron. He doesn't need to push and try and steal away the win. Whitehead doesn't have that luxury. He's got to get every point he can. Heron doesn't have that pressure on him. He can afford for this round to be his drop race instead of Silverstone, for instance, exactly as you were explaining earlier, Ed. So Alexis Hearn could just stay where he is and be perfectly content with it.
Well, the other thing is Hearn can sort of do a risky strategy, maybe save a bit of fuel, pit a lot later than the rest of them, and then try and sort of overcut them effectively. As in come some of our leaders then. That is Emulo diving for the pits along with Grigoletto and Biela.
That's Marco De Buono that has gone on again. He had slightly more energy in the tank, so he's got enough.
Erchan, of course, pitting from the lead. Yeah, we've got to mention that.
Yeah, Arda Erchan. Well, so a number of cars coming in. Erchan, Yamalo, Grigoletto, Biela, and
Mueller having to reverse right in front of Grigoletto there in the pit box. Or is that just the game doing that for him, I think?
Either or. That's never ideal.
Yeah. And there's Gillison. Gets in just ahead of Erchan. That's where he would have hoped to be in this point in the race. But sadly, Erchan will surely get away before him.
Well, you would certainly hope so, unless someone's not doing their job properly. In come all three of our GT3 leaders, or four of our GT3 front contingent all coming in at
2%
once.
for all of them, so they didn't really have any energy to go any further. As look in the background, that's Grigoletto's got going just behind Dario Mulo then, and Biela in tow.
So Yamalo, Grigoletto leading the hypercar contingent, or those that have pitted from the hypercar contingent, back on track. There's Gillison. But where's that put him
Geitz.
now?
Well, he was fighting Geitz earlier, so Geitz pit to stay ahead. Is he going to be able to overcut and come out just ahead into the red of Filio? It's going to be cold tires for Gillison. A little bit of lockup for the Peugeot. He's stuck to the outside. Gillison is just going to fend him off. There we go. So Isaac Gillison and Ferrari Sports just about getting the strategy right there. And now he's got Freer ahead of him. He needs to push to catch up to Biela. But of course, there will be drivers ahead that will pit into that gap anyways. Our three GT3 leaders leave in completely different order. It is Werrell that is down to third, and Luke Whitehead is into the net lead of the race when Alexandre Lay pits from ahead of them. And so Sean Gaskell is now running in a net P2 as well in the Mercedes.
And Lewis Werrell's got very slightly more virtual energy post pit stop than the two ahead.
Could have missed his box as well, so it might not necessarily be an error on in terms of how much virtual energy he chose to put in. It could be that was just a little bit late in the box, a bit of inexperience in VMS and LMU showing there.
We will see. We will see how that plays out for him, because he managed to build up that lead earlier on. We'll see if he's able to repeat the feat.
Chan versus De Bruyne. This could be crucial here. Oh, very quick stop for De Bruyne.
So then, who's going to win out here? The BMW of Marco De Bruyne just leaving the pit lane now. Here comes the Cadillac of Arda Ercan.
Oh, it's going to be close. De Bruyne surely had to back off on the inside there. So there we go. He's a lot closer than he was. Maybe underfueling the virtual energy ever so slightly, or maybe not choosing to change tyres. But either way, De Bruyne can take advantage of the slipstream at this point. So that should prevent Emulo and Grigoletto from getting too close. So risky strategy from Tatum Esports to try and get De Bruyne into the lead.
Well, Marco De Bruyne does have about a lap, I would say a lap less virtual energy than Arda Ercan. Let's hope.
He did put less fuel in having pit later, of course.
Yeah, and I think that will be fine, because they still came out with 3/4 of a tank with far less than 3/4 of the race to go. So I think that will be fine, but that's why Marco De Bruyne is much closer to Arda Ercan now than he was previously. As Alexandre Lay from the GT3 lead I think he's exiting the pits now, but that's Luke Whitehead. There we go, is now going to take over the GT3 lead.
Yeah, top four should comfortably get through here, I think. Alexis Hunt, just nipping through now.
Still all credit to Lewis Werrell there. His maiden race in the Platinum Split, leading for 2/3 of the race.
Yeah, not easy to do that in a Corvette, is it?
No. Well, not easy to do this in this split, as we now see Patrick Schindler having a look on the inside line into the rest of Filio.
Oh, Ercan under attack here from De Bruyne. De Bruyne sort of had a half move in the parabolic here, but he's setting up the exit here. The BMW again, we've got really good top speed versus the Cadillac here. So Ercan, will he get defensive into Red Filio? De Bruyne closing again, and this time having to back out there. So yeah, a hypercar lead. Oh, a little mistake over the curves from Ercan, and now this could be the opportunity for De Bruyne, Chris.
Could well be riding on board then with the Italian in the BMW through Curva Grande, but I think Arda Ercan may well have had enough traction to, as he goes defensive nonetheless. Bruno thought about it, but discretion better part about it. We still have 30 minutes left on the clock, but Arda Ercan has got a lot more work to do in this stage of the race than he has done for a while. They come to the back of one of the Lexuses and bounce around it. They do. Oh no, that's not what Marco De Bruyne needs. Arda Ercan will be enjoying that, but the Italian quickly bounces around the Lexus, and he really wants to get back under the rear wing of the Cadillac. That's a Ford. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, sorry.
My apologies. Yeah, I've gotten everyone's name wrong and all the corner names wrong. I may as well get everyone's cars wrong as well.
There we go. Well, anyway, the interesting thing about the Ercan De Bruyne fight, you might say, well, neither of them are going to win the Drivers' Championship, but of course they are they're 6th and 8th in the championship moment, 13 points apart. Symmetry between them is not racing. And yeah, there's a great opportunity for one or both of them to maybe sneak into the top 6, top 5 in the standings then, and maybe get themselves a chance of some prize money as well come the end of the season then. So yeah, there is quite a lot at stake between these two, and not just pride, not just a race victory, but actual prize money as well. As look at the risks that Domino is taking to keep Erchan under pressure here. And at the moment, Erchan gets a better exit, and as it gets a little bit of respite to keep the BMW in the rearview mirror.
Very true. Good passing to one on the outside of Curva Grande is always a bit hair-raising at the best of the time. And now it's Arda Erchan that has been caught out there behind another one of the fellow Falcon cars. That was Schindler, yes, indeed. Doing nothing wrong, just wrong place, wrong time. And that's going to swing the momentum back towards Marco De Buono now, riding on board in the treble 4 BMW, coming out of the second Lesmo. Camera having a bit of a fit.
Oh, Biela side by side to Letao. Oh, so Letao going around the outside at Lesmo 1 and 2 there, which is not a usual move. But yeah, Letao really pushing to try and get into the top 5. Don't believe he's done that so far this season. Let's see a replay of what happened, Chris, between these two.
Oh, Letao got it wrong. It looked like coming through the Del Rogia, and Rafael Biela got the inside line, but a bit of a touch between the two, but he's got the inside for Lesmo 1 as they try to change paint on the way down to Lesmo 2. Letao knows it's done, and up into 5th place for Rafael Biela. Grigoletto now
up the inside. Podium. He's up the inside on Mulo.
Oh, Dario Yemelo almost pushing his countryman through the final turn, and look how defensive Grigoletto is going. Dario Yemelo in the Ferrari pulls out from the slipstream on the way down to the Restifidio. But Grigoletto, he's just about...
he hasn't made the corner.
No, he's going to have to get that one up. And yeah, he does indeed. Slots in behind his countryman. But that is not what he wants. There's Michi Hoyer losing out Paul Puo coming through the same chicane. So, yeah, with 3/4 of the race down and still got big clumps of our field together, battling for positions. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, problem for this lot is that Ulrich is 3.5 seconds still behind the Letao-Biela battle, so they really need Zotus to fight like crazy for any chance of finishing in the top 5 here. But yeah, certainly Emilio and Grigoletto dueling as well. Oh, there we go. Hoyer hits the side of, I think that's Mehdi Hamedani there, who's under attack from Schindler. Hamedani now having to get really defensive into Lesmo 2. Now Gillison is going to have to find a way up the inside of both of them without losing too much time. So Emilio continuing to fend off and using the Mercedes of Sean Gaskell to good effect there, I believe, to keep Grigoletto behind him. That's not Gaskell, is it? That's Thomas Leiden. Sorry, in the other Falcon Esports Mercedes.
So,
there's the other one.
there is Sam Gaskell. Still hustling Luke Whitehead for the lead of the GT3s.
Yeah, so Gaskell certainly has been just an ever-present threat to Whitehead when they were fighting for second earlier. Now for the leaders, through goes Hoyer. And there goes the BMW of, that was Erchan, sorry, and then this is De Buono. Sorry, I'm forgetting who's where in the race. The hypercars are surprisingly so close together, aren't they? That I keep forgetting that they're not actually that far apart. Even, as we see Biela going a little bit deep behind Grigoletto. Biela and Letao are now right behind this third place battle. So it's 4 cars all fighting for the bottom step of the podium. And for Grigoletto, it's so important to get through, but Emulo's got to help his teammate by backing up Grigoletto here, and that's exactly what he's intending to do.
Oh, don't. And they didn't go side through Del Roggio. We've seen that go wrong several times.
Emulo would have seen exactly what happened to Gillison, and he didn't want to perpetrate it himself, I think.
Yeah. Well, he also saw a bit of a lock-up there from what I think was Biela coming down into that chicane as well. There is Rafael Biela being chased by Matthias Letao for 5th position. Grigoletto still in the tyre tracks of his countrymen. Both Italians wanted to do well on home soil. Only one of them will come away with that last podium spot. Grigoletto nearly takes the nose of Lewis Warrell away. The Cadillac still hanging on in there, but has not been able to get back into that leading position. Luke Whitehead staying very much out of the way. There goes Grigoletto with the slipstream. He's going to put him on the outside line of Parabolica. That's never going to pay off. He's He wanted to duck underneath the Ferrari, but parked on the apex was Dario Yamalo. Biela and Letao side by side now. Who's going to win out here? Is it going to be Cadillac? Is it going to be Ferrari? Letao noses into the head of, and he's into the lead there. That would be impressive from there. Oh, two side by side as Grigoletto and Yamalo side by side. Who's going to win out here? Bit of nudging going on. Oh, Grigoletto forced to the outside line. He's not going to get the traction.
I think Letao's cut the corner as well. He's gone over straight on at the chicane because he was locking up heavily, and that's let Biela back through into fifth then. But look at this, Grigoletto's not done to the outside of Curve Ground and onto the grass. Whoa, what a defensive chop there from Mulo. He was not suffering any falls from the championship leader there. So Dario Mulo pulling out all the stops there. Grigoletto is not going to be happy with that one, and Biela now is closing back up to them.
I see this again.
Whoa.
And that's, yeah, exactly as you said, Ed. Letao taking the polystyrene with him as, yeah, locked up. And he knew he did it. He knew that.
And Ulrich getting through as well.
Yeah, he would have known that he was never going to make the corner and wisely went to the escape road. We cut back now to Grigoletto and Yamalo. Still, the battle for third rages on.
Yeah, meanwhile, Erchan, De Bueno 1.1 seconds apart. So Arda Erchan just slowly but surely, yeah, look at him, only half a second quicker that previous lap, and De Bueno pushing to try and match him, but you can tell just slightly losing touch here. So this could well be the way this battle concludes in the final 22 minutes, unless De Bueno can find something. And look here, this is Isaac Gillison, who's finally caught up to the back of Michi Hoyer. The Dutchman versus the German. He's trying to relieve him of that 9th position here. And so Michi Hoyer, we've seen him defend from Grigoletto earlier this season. Now he's got to defend against the other title protagonist, Isaac Gillison.
Yeah, one to forget then for Isaac Gillison. I think it's, well, he's already got a DNF under his name, so his drop round was already secured.
Two drop rounds essentially, because he missed the first round at Fuji,
so he needs to maximize as many points as he can. As we see Werrell staying very much out of the way. That's Cantor having an argument with Pisoni.
Cantor's got the inside. Oh, bumps into the side of him there, but Pisoni gets a decent run, so they'll be side by side through the Curve Grande, Chris.
Yeah, that's advantage Pisoni there, and Cantor knows it, just bleeds out of the throttle, slots in behind the Ferrari as they work their way past Thomas Leiden in the Falcon Mercedes. Or was that Gaskell? That's
Gaskell, yes,
Gaskell,
because that's Whitehead just in front of them. Oh, a little bit wide for Pisoni, so Cantor may fancy a look up the inside as Whitehead goes as far out of the way as he can without sacrificing time to Gaskell behind. But Cantor in the very brightly coloured, the yellow and blue Peugeot, not quite able to get the upper hand on Pisoni here. These two fighting outside the points, but nonetheless putting in a fabulous show, the both of them. Yeah. We haven't seen either of them for, I think, a couple of races each, so really good to see him back in the saddle at Monza.
This is for wooden spoon avoidance, but they are giving it everything, like they are trying to go for the race win, and that's always what we want to see. Yeah, we didn't see Cantor last time out into Lagos.
And we didn't see Pisoni either, so yeah, it's been a round off for both of them 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and Pisoni changed car in time for Sebring as well, so...
Oh, Grigoletto having another go up the inside into the red of Filio, and not quite far enough alongside, but he's compromised the exit of Emulo here, and Rafael Biela will get the best exit of the both of them if they're not careful here. So Biela waiting in the wings to pick up the podium here if either of these two trip over each other. Now again, Grigoletto not put off by what happened before. He goes all the way around the outside at Curva Grande, and Emulo's still there on the outside but can't break late enough. Grigoletto's got the inside, and Grigoletto through Della Roggia takes third position, and now Emulo will have to defend from Biela as well. So excellent racecraft from Fabio Grigoletto. That is why he's a two-time champion.
Brilliantly executed there from the champion. He knew that he needed to get the momentum early in that maneuver on Yamalo, because Yamalo's been kind of breaking Grigoletto's momentum through Curva Grande. He knew if he got alongside early enough that he could get the inside line for Del Roggia, which is exactly what he managed to do. And he's basically thrown Yamalo to the clutches of Rafael Biela, and already the champion has got himself a couple of car lengths over his countrymen. So that has worked out pretty well for Grigoletto, but he's got to hold it for another 19 and a half minutes. And you know there's still plenty of horses ready to deploy for Yamalo and also Biela, and also Ulrich and Letao chasing them.
look how much time they've lost, really, since fighting each other after the pit phase. They are now 14 seconds down on Chan and De Bueno here. So, yeah, if it's a time penalty for De Bueno, it might not even help Krylov if he's that far down behind then. So, we'll have to see then. But, yeah, still a lot of racing to go. You can see, actually, Ulrich is now slowly catching up, and he's bringing Litau back with him. So, despite cutting the chicane, Litau is not out of this podium fight yet. Still 2 seconds clear of Paul Puod, who has then got Hoyer and Gillison for company as well. So plenty of fights all throughout the top 10 here in Hypercar. Meanwhile, Gaskell got back within a second of Luke Whitehead in recent history, as Lewis Werrell, having lost out a little bit with the Hypercars lapping them, has dropped back ever so slightly to 2 seconds. And up the inside looks Gillison into Della Roggia. Will Michi Hoyer leave enough space? He gets very late on the brakes and holds on around the outside there. So Michi Hoyer, it doesn't matter who he's racing, he is not going to make himself an easy prey here. Oh, somebody in the gravel.
Someone's
it's Litau again.
Oh no, after such brilliant duels he's been having all night long, and there it is,
completely on his own, it looks like.
Oh, he got out of shape into the first Lesmo. Is he hit the wall? Yeah. Yes. Oh yes, he has. Oh dear, that is not what Erie Race Esports want to see. Oh, goodness me. Michi Hoyer still under all kinds of pressure. Forward is now 9th position, as Litau was ahead of them when that incident took place. German defends, but Gillison tries to go inside and gets very uncomfortable on the brakes, coming down in the parabolica. But Michi Hoyer gets the racing line and gets some momentum on the exit, but goes straight to that defensive posture. Now, can the Dutchman do anything about it? Well, the Dutchman that I nicknamed in Italian earlier on. And Gillison, no, he's going to be too far back on this occasion. It could well be that Isaac Gillison's kind of had to concede that may well be as good as he's going to get without other people's misfortunes, as Hoyer is still some distance behind Paul Puo.
Well, problem is Hoyer's in the same car as him, the 499P, so he's got all the same sort of strengths and weaknesses then, and Michi is so experienced. Oh, Bieler's round! Hits the side of Ulrich and flies over the curb. Ulrich has to cut the corner, and I think, Muno's in the gravel as well, so he may have been tagged. So Bieler causing all sorts of chaos as he just locks the rear brakes there, goes back around the outside of Ulrich. Somehow he's in P4, but Grigolato is long gone now.
I thought that was Grigolato for a moment, but no, it wasn't exactly today, it was Yamalo. Oh, that could have gone so much worse. What on earth happened here? So there is Yamalo coming through Curva Grande. There's
Bieler minding his own business as well, and then this happens.
Yeah. So was there contact? No, I thought.
Oh, he just got wiped out.
He kept it out of the wall, but how much damage is now on the back of the 28 car? Well, we won't know. Only
second time we've seen a Ferrari sportsman in the gravel in this race. So
yeah.
Deja vu and a half.
We need to see it really from Rafael Bieler's perspective to see what happens. And there they are side by side.
Oh, there is contact.
So Bieler got punched in the face there by Moritz Ulrich. And it was Dario Yamalo that was the innocent victim in that. Oh dear, the stewards are going to be busy this time.
Oh, as we see the Monza tree line. Well, if Darren Mueller didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck. And here is what happened then. So Ulrich is going to the outside, getting close to making the move. And then is there a bit of a miscommunication? They always turn into each other. I think there was Ulrich being a little bit more aggressive, and then Bieler was sent out of control, sliding. So, yeah, a bit of a mess. De Bueno, by the way, has got bang within 9/10 of Erchan while we've been watching all of this. So Erchan may be getting a little bit held up in traffic, but I think we have well and truly lost Litau from the race. But look at this, it's not over yet. Hoyer fighting away with Puo and having to cut the corner completely, so he'll have to let Puo back through, and probably Gillison as well.
Yeah, he's not going to be able, unless he's amazing and splits the tip. No, I don't think he even tried.
Oh, Gillison, though, Gillison going wide and into the gravel. So he had to go offline, and that's cost him a lot of time there. So Gillison stuck in P9 then. And yeah, that'll be ultimate frustration for the Dutchman then. It's really just been, as you say, just not a race where things have gone in his favor. Emilio, by the way, still going right behind Bieler in P6, as we can see on screen at the moment then. So these wounded warriors having all collided into each other. Now the free Ferrari is free to dispute 4th position, but you can see really sideways for Ascari. Goes Bieler, and Emilio gratefully gets up to P5 then. But it's going to be difficult for any of these drivers to finish on the podium with Grigolato just disappearing up the road by about 4 seconds now.
Puo's behind Michi Hoyer now. Oh, as the Falcon car's got a bit too deep. Someone's kicked up a bit of dust on the outside of
back up the
Parabolica.
inside then. So yeah, this is the move we just saw. Look at Biela's exit at the rear end of that car, really misbehaving, having clad into Ferrari. He goes over the curb, and then on the exit, he just goes out a little bit too wide, destroys his momentum a little bit, and the Ferrari doesn't have to do anything too special, all the way to left, and then he's in ahead.
Yeah, the Rafael Biela was starting to lose a bit of traction coming out of Ascari, and then bounced over the apex that then pushed him too wide. So this is Paul Puo behind,
Hoyer
and there
lost the
you
back
see,
end.
Somebody, I think Biela, kicking up a bit of dust on the outside of Parabolica. Easy move then for Paul Puo.
Yeah, Biela lost a lot of time there, so he's luckily still kept position in P6 ahead of Puo, but yeah, now being held up by Bessier as well for De La Roggia. As we see replay, are we going to see? We're going to see him go into the gravel at the Parabolica Alboreto then. So here we go. He's lost position. He was thinking about move up the inside, and then does he just have a bit of a moment? Oh yeah, the rear gets away from him right at the apex there. Luckily avoids the gravel, so good instincts there from Biela, but he's about to be passed around the outside. Oh, bit of contact as Lemoyne tries to get out of the way of both of them in his own little battle here, and Biela just holds on. And sneaky through as well as Michi Hoyer.
Oh, there's so much cleansing going on. There's everybody trying to get their own bit of Italian
Gillison's
real
caught
estate.
back up again, so now Hoyer has got for the Ferrari Sportsman for company once more.
It just goes to show you really you never can give up, because again with that moment Isaac Gillison had, he could well have just backed off and settled for where he was, but now he's right with Michi Hoyer again, who is still keeping Paul Puo for company. Was the other way around until Michi Hoyer had that moment a lap ago. Now Isaac Gillison could well gain or at least challenge for potentially 7th here, but you know, he had trouble getting past Michi Hoyer before, and only less than 12 and a half minutes to go now. Not much time left.
Emulo, yellow flag for Emulo. He cuts the first chicane. So something's gone horribly wrong there. Maybe that damage is worse than we thought from being hit by Biela.
Could well be.
And that's that Gillison for, I think.
It has, yeah. Let's see what's happened to the Italian.
Oh, it's under braking. Yeah, it just completely locks up. And he has a spin as well.
Oh, even worse. So now facing the wrong way, guns it, and then just bounces over the gravel. And gets himself going again. Oh dear. Oh, Sam Gaskell. Is he going to be having a go at the GT3 lead? Well, we haven't looked at the GT3 lead for a while. It's Luke Whitehead was very slowly working his way. Yeah, was slowly working his way, building up a lead. But now the Mercedes, the Falcon Merc, having a look along the outside line. Can Luke Whitehead defend all the way through Parabolica? Oh, careful. Is he going to get that one slowed down? He does. Can Sam Gaskell cut underneath him? No. Luke Whitehead parks it on the apex. The GT3 lead battle very much on there. Well, to say there, I was going to say the next car down the line is Werrell, but he's about 3 seconds behind. There is Grigoletto, now very much minding his own business, getting past the GT3 leader. Gaskell, no, that's not going to work. Outside line coming down into Resifilio. Oh, goodness me. Oh, it's Biela and Puo again. This is a battle for 5th position.
Yeah,
BMW defends the inside line.
Oh, is he going to back out of this one? He's going to go well to the outside there. And now he's got Hoyer for company and Gillison as well. Then with Emulo, with his struggling with his wounded car just behind them in P9 then. So big train behind Paul Bird. He's now 7 seconds behind Ulrich, who's our new man up to 4th place. What we also missed, by the way, is Alexandra Lay has passed Hernt for P4 in the last couple of laps then. And in fact, there they are right there. Just being lapped there by Paul Puo into De La Roggia then. So Lay just about surviving, and both him and Hernt pulling well clear of the hypercar field on the approach to Lesmo #1 there. And you can see there Biela losing a little bit of touch, and that means Hoyer will get a run at him on the run in towards Ascari.
Gillison, now is he going to get the run on the German, or is the German going to get the run on the Frenchman ahead? But again, I don't envy our production team from needing to know, trying to figure out which battle to look at, because they are all As we look at, oh, is that Heron back ahead of Legg? It is the Lamborghini back ahead of the Oplight Ford. So that didn't last particularly long.
Oh, Beeler and Hoyer side by side. That's a long way round for Mitch. Hoyer just nips in front. Was there a little contact between himself and Beeler? And now Gillison looking to follow the door Falcon Esports man through. He's going up the inside. They go either side of the lead battle in GD3. It's the two Brits of Whitehead and Gaskell fighting for the lead at Monza. But Gillison and Beeler side by side. Gillison needs every point he can get to limit the damage here in the championship, keep his hopes alive. When there's 38 on offer at Le Mans, there's still every chance he could turn things around at the final race of the season. Up to P7 goes Isaac Gillison, and now Emulo, his teammate, fancies making Beeler's debut. He wants revenge for being taken out by Beeler early on, I think.
I would imagine so. Cava Grande. Let's see if this changes by the time they get down to the Del Roger. Yeah, here comes Beeler. He wants to try to get the inside of Gillison. Doesn't get it done, though. Nearly impact between Yamalo and Beeler. And then right behind them is Brandon Geitz in the Peugeot as well. Side by side, that's Lemoyne and Hannah arguing for 10th
Hannah
place.
in the gravel.
Oh, goodness me, right behind them are in Bessier, a three-way argument for 10th position, and that is... Oh, I thought that was the lead. Oh, Leiden tried to turn in, Kolosov was still there, and that didn't pay off. I thought that was the GT3 lead changing hands then, but was the wrong Falcon.
Oh, Milo and Beeler as it's Scary. By the way, De Bono's back within half a second of Erchan in the overall race lead fight. So 2 lead fights in both classes. Erchan versus De Bono, Whitehead versus Gaskell. I think Beeler losing even more positions. Falls to P10 behind Geit. So he's got Nascari well and truly wrong there. So clearly that Ferrari's not handling well after its damage with Emulo.
Well, this is so there's Geitz. So Geitz gets past Beeder as well in the course of this. So that's Yamalo getting past.
He flew over the sausage curb and went even wider.
That's a few times we've seen that from Rafael Beeder. Now it could well just be cracking under pressure, or there is damage to the car that's making it just difficult at high speed to get through that left-hander. But here is the lead battle again. The BMW closes in during the cornering of Lesmo 1 and 2. Harder Erchan, he's been in that position. Oh no, Beeler's off. So there is, I wonder if there's been issues with his car. But Beeler was causing a yellow flag there that seems to have disappeared pretty quick. What's happened here?
Has he just gotten turn 1 wrong here? On the brakes in time. Going over the curb, and he's just loads up the rear tyres, so just frustration for Beeler. And that's a shame. He's been in much better form in the last couple of races in that Ferrari. But look at De Bono. It seems that Erchan maybe he's used up a little bit of tyres. So this aggressive strategy from De Bono has kept him in play. He's been using the slipstream to not fall too far behind, kept it out to about a second ever since the pit stop. And now he's in a position to attack again in these final 6 minutes then. So Erchan is going to be under real pressure if he wants to take what would be, I believe, his 3rd or 4th victory in the Platinum Split. But up the inside goes De Bono, looking for only his 2nd ever win. And the 2 leaders tangle, and round goes De Bono. It's a full 360-degree spin into the Red Filio. And De Bono is going to be seeing a bit of red after that one, I suspect.
Oh, that is never what you want to see. But 2 into... The Retifilio is always difficult. Yeah, Arda Erchan took the win at Spain and Interlagos last season in the Cadillac.
Spa in Interlagos, we didn't race in Spain. There's no Spanish track on it.
Yeah, indeed. I'm glad one of us is paying attention. Let's look at it again between Erchan and De Bono. Inside line for the BMW.
Oh.
Erchan tries to cut, doesn't leave enough room there. I could
sort of see what Marco was trying to do there by going a bit longer at the brakes to block off the line from Erchan, but he sort of left just enough space, and Erchan turned into that space and then had the inside for the second part of the corner. So difficult for me to really rule either way, but I know Marco will be frustrated. That one's so keen to win his home race.
Absolutely, but I think that he was committed. He was fully alongside, but it looked like from that angle he wasn't given enough racing room. But the stewards are the ones that will argue that one, and we'll see how they conclude that, should it be raised. But here we see Luke Whitehead still with his mirrors full of Falcon Mercedes of Sam Gaskell, where he has been for considerable period of time. Of course, the more they fought, that's allowed Lewis Werrell to close in a bit. Well, less than 5 minutes to go. Is it going to be enough for the Corvette to get involved? We'll have to see. Sam Gaskell is not giving up this fight from Luke Whitehead just yet.
Yeah, remember Whitehead took his first win in the Platinum Split right here 2 seasons ago, last year, of course, in 2025. As we see, this is an onboard with De Bono getting up the inside into the red Ophelia, and he's about to see... Oh, there we go. He went a bit long into the corner. We couldn't quite see that from the angle, so... Yeah, it was just a little bit messy there. So I think Marco will be a little frustrated with Erchan, but also maybe kicking himself a little bit. Still 5 seconds to the gap, but 4 minutes to go. You think Erchan is just a case of cruising at home now and picking up what would be his 3rd win in the Hypercars, but he's also won in GD3 once before in the first season at Sebring. So yeah, that would be 4 wins total. But yeah, as for Whitehead, if he can hold on ahead of Gaskell, that would get the lead in the points down to, I think, 27 going into the final race of the season behind Alexis Herndt then, with drop scores applied. So it will be really, really fascinating to see if Whitehead, if he can have a really, really good end to the season in Circular Saga, if he can put the pressure on Alexis Herndt and make him really fight for this title. As we see, this is in Mulo. Has he had another issue into the first chicane? Yes, he has. Had to cut the corner completely, and Geitz, just getting through. So I think Mulo wanted to return a lot earlier to the track and found a Peugeot in the way.
Yeah. Another retirement. Rafael Bila deciding enough's enough, and he has parked his car. That's a shame. With only a few minutes left to go, he has opted to take potentially the safer route. The car was getting a little bit too difficult to drive. We've seen a few mistakes creep in for him, and that leaves 12 of our hypercars remaining. That is Marco De Bono we are looking at with his...
taken 7 tenths out of Erchan on that last lap almost. So he's really driving angry, but the problem is they're all starting to run out of tyres and virtual energy at this point. So yeah, the end of the race is beckoning, and here comes Bessier beckoning to the back of the similar Mustang of Lemoyne. The fight just for the final point in P10. Bessier recovering from his early spin. He's got the inside at De La Roggia, but he hasn't got quite far enough alongside, so the Frenchman fends his countryman off there. And yeah, the final point currently still in possession of Niclas Lemoyne then. But here is Paul Puod, who's been passed by Michi Hoyer and lost P5 as a consequence. Now Gillison trying to get a couple more points for his championship challenge here. Knows Grigoletto is looking for 15 here. Gillison at the moment would be looking for maybe 3 or 4 if he finishes where he is. So he desperately needs that P6 if he can get it. Here's how Hoyer got through, Chris.
Inside line. So Puo thought about trying to defend the inside line, but that distraction, or he knew he'd miss his braking point. A little bit of a lockup there. BMW getting very uncomfortable coming through Retifidio, and an easy pass then for Michi Hoyer. So we look at Puo and Gillison, still arguing for 6th position, right behind Michi Hoyer. 1.5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a do or die for Isaac Gillison.
Well, yeah, he's been on the back. To be fair, he's fought back really, really well, all things considering, but he will still be absolutely incensed by what happened with De Bono early in the race into De La Roggia, because he knows that cost him potentially a strut on the podium, because there's that 11-second gap between Grigoletto and De Bono, especially after that spin between De Bono and Erchan. He'll argue I should have been in that gap in P2 maybe if I hadn't had that messy start to the race, but either way, this is the way it's played out, and he's got to make the best of it. And at the moment, Puod still fending off, but a late dive to the inside. He forces Puod a little bit wide. That's going to allow Hoyer to escape up the road, but Gillison really just trying every trick in the book to try and put him off. And here we go, almost onto the grass comes Bessier, trying to steal P10, but we also got to keep an eye on that lead fight between Whitehead and Gaskell. Bessier still not able to make it through. Now Ulrich comes through the lap, the both of them still in the fantastic P4 is Moritz Ulrich then, who, let's not forget, is about 18th in the championship, having changed for the Ferrari mid-season then. So looking for his best result of the season so far. But here is the view. Whitehead, it is absolutely crucial he holds back Gaskell and gives himself the best possible chance here. One more lap to go, and Gaskell is running out of time to try and steal the lead and take his first win. But for Whitehead, he has got to be inch perfect here, or it's all over, basically.
Yeah, so true. That was well driven from Paul Puo. He saw Isaac Gillison make that very, very late move and then adjusted his line accordingly through the Retifidio.
Coming up here.
Indeed.
That's Heno in the way for Puod. So now Gillison's got a little chance here if he can set up a move into the Retifidio. That's probably his best chance. Oh, four wide.
yeah.
Bessier, Lemoyne, and Hannah. Oh, and Hoyer gets clobbered by all three of them there and loses a bit of time.
Well, is that going to throw Mitchy Hoyer into the mixture here?
Leiden in the pits. The race is over. We've missed it. There we go. Erchan wins.
Erchan has indeed taken the win and buried his car as a result. So Arda Erchan, well, he's occupied all three spots on the podium now with this taking the win. He was second in Sebring, third in Interlagos, and Arda Erchan takes the victory in Hypercar. And Luke Whitehead now coming
still
through.
Going in GD3, so they didn't quite get lapped by Erchan in time then.
Yeah, so very true. And Sam Gaskell getting a bit uncomfortable on the exit of the second Lesmo. I think he may have to concede that that's as good as it's going to get for him. We'll see now as they come down into Ascari. Yeah, there's several car lengths there. Sam Gaskell, he's not going to be
Got to be careful on fuel. They might not have been expecting to do this extra lap. This is what nearly caught out Luke Whitehead when he took his first win here 2 seasons ago then. Of course, he was a Ferrari esports driver at the time in a 296 Ferrari, but now he's in the Mustang. One more corner to go, and Whitehead is going to keep his title hopes alive with his 3rd victory of the season, and boy, has this been long-awaited and hard-fought.
So very true. So out of Parabolica for the final time. Your winner in the GT3 field by a mere margin. Luke Whitehead is Chase Homer, Sam Gaskell, and fair play Lewis Werrell rounding out the podium through in his maiden race in the Platinum Split. But it's truth. Look at the tower. Erchan and Domino apparently right next to each other. But
I'm not sure I believe that. That was like 3 or 4
because exactly. So before Stewart's intervention, Luke Whitehead takes the GT3 victory. Sam Gaskell second, Lewis Werrell in third, Alexis Heron fourth, Alexandra Lay in fifth, Kolosov in sixth, Thomas Lydon in seventh, Patrick Schindler in eighth, Mehdi Hamidani in ninth, and Marine Bessier rounds out the top 10. Niclas Lemoyne in 11th, Alexander Hanna in 12th, and Julian Heno rounding out the GT3 finishes. We lost in the course of the race Axel Ramanet, Adrian Portal, Remy Delorme, Christian Margera, Artem Manisha, and Nicholas Huber not taking the start.
I should apologize, by the way, because obviously with Alexis Heno finishing 4th, Monza now becomes his drop round. So actually that's 3 more points in favor of Luke Whitehead then in the standings. So I'll have to readjust that. It might not be 27 points. It might be 24 points in the standings, which is still considerable, but 38 for the win. So anything could happen next time out. But I'll just very quickly go through the Hypercar results. Arda Erchan takes his 3rd Hypercar victory for Door Falcon Esports in the Cadillac. 4.2 seconds ahead of Marco De Bueno. Marco De Bueno getting his best result of the season so far in P2 to add to his 2 podiums earlier on. So good to see De Bueno back on form. And it's 2 Tatum Restec Esports cars on the podium with our championship leader Fabio Grigoletto just extending ever so slightly his advantage in P3. In 4th, best result of the season so far for Moritz Ulrich, who's only 3 seconds down on Grigoletto. Mitchy Hoyer recovers up to 5th with a very clean race, triumphing his fight against Paul Puot with a late move there. Puot just fending off Isaac Gillison on the last couple of laps there. Brandon Geitz will finish P8 in his Peugeot, highest of the Peugeots, of course, with Dario Mulo second for so much of this race, unfortunately falling to P9 after that huge collision with Rafael Bila compromised his race. Marco Cantor takes the final points. A good drive by Marco to take, I believe, his 2nd point of the season. His 3rd points finish of the season. But yes, certainly after missing the previous race, he needed that. Johannes Price, though, will just miss out in P11, and Leonardo Pizzoni will be our final finisher in P12. Rafael Bila ran 3rd early on, but a messy incident with Ulrich cost him dear. He retired along with Matthias Letal, who had 2 incidents cutting the track and into the gravel. Jimmy Menard had a bit of messy race, and Sven Gielhed being cruelly disconnected from the lead after taking pole position. You've got to feel for Sven. Jerne Simoncic, unfortunately for him, sadly not able to get the Valkyrie to the start. But I hope Jerne enjoyed the Miami Grand Prix. Well, who knows what happened there? We were glued to our eyes on this particular race, but only 1 more to go. And the calendar is the end of our 4th season in Platinum Split. Just 1 endurance round left to go, and both title fights in Hypercar and GD3 are still open, but it will be Grigoletto leading Gillison by an increased margin, and then in GD3. Herndt will lead Whitehead, as I say, by 24 points. So really exciting. I hope you and Nathan have a good time at Circuit de la Sarthe.
I hope we all have a good time at Circuit de la Sarthe.
Well, I suppose I'll be around, but you guys will be commentating.
We have got, we did have Fabio Gricoletto briefly, and he has magically morphed into.
No time for interviews. Okay.
Unfortunately, we do actually have to wrap it up. Unfortunately, Marco De Bueno was available for us to speak to, but sadly, duty calls. But that just leaves me to say thank you very much to those that have been with us either live or post-event. Your company is always very welcome. Thank you very much, Ed Hunter, for joining me in the commentary box. Always a good pleasure, sir.
No worries. Anyway, let's have a quick off and see you for the finale in 2 weeks' time. But before that, Gold Split finale as well, which is at Monza, funnily enough, if I'm not mistaken.
Happy days. Thank you very much, Nick Domino, for being in charge of the cameras and for all of our drivers for putting on a fantastic show. We hope to see you next time for our grand finale in Le Mans at 2 weeks' time. Until next time, thank you very much and good night.